My name is Steve Erwin, and I'm a human of Southgate. So, it probably wasn't one of those things that, you can read about in regard to, did you have a revelation on a certain day? That really never really happened to me. I just was a believer,
Right.
and I was around a lot of believers. And then I had the good fortune, too, that when I got down to school, I was involved in things like FCA, Campus Crusade, a lot of things for the most part that, that particular support group was always very, very good. But my background, for the most part, I've always had a lot of support. And I just have always been a believer.
How's your Christian faith helped you in your life?
I think it helps every day, just in your upbringing, but also in your decision making. Where you have faith, in my opinion, it gives you contentment. We've got a challenge going on right now because I have lung cancer.
Oh.
And in fairness, it's kind of like when it came on, you're always going to say, well, why me? But on the other hand, my faith, for the most part, it got me through, it really did. And my family. I'm fortunate right now that I have a certain gene and I have a miracle drug, and it's just doing wonders. So I have a miracle almost every day going on in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing in regard to Christians. I think Christians have something to rely on. It really kind of helps. And if you believe the scriptures, if you read in regard to all the challenges that they ran into, it's kind of like it isn't nothing compared to what we have today.
Describe a time when you felt God nudging you out of your comfort zone.
Well, I think right now, to a certain extent, to give an interview or to talk about your faith is difficult. I don't care what anybody says. Hopefully they see it, but on the other end, to talk about your faith, that can be difficult. So it's always good to get out of your comfort zone. You'll kind of learn from it, but it happens. And I hate to talk about sports so much, but I can tell in regard to my grandkids right now, they're playing sports, and they're out of their comfort zone at times. It isn't fun to get beat.
Right.
You for the most part learn from that. On the other hand, too, in regard to how hard you have to work for something, I think that goes along with it. But that's also in studies, in regard to your studies, which I look back and it was kind of like, man, I wished I would have studied harder. Well, I think in regard to doubts, everybody has doubts. I think you get challenged, every day in regard to why does this happen to me? Or I don't understand this. And the Bible, for the most part, it has a lot of good stories, but it has a lot of tough stories too. Mm-hmm. I had a brother, I think it's been now 4 years, a farmer, very strong Christian, which is wonderful. But, before Christmas, he basically was in a farm accident. Now that's somewhat common when you start looking at it, but, it was my brother. And anyway, we lost him because of that farm accident. Oh. And it was kind of like, at that time, I know in regard to everybody's faith, it was a concern. It's like, why would you take somebody like Tom? But on the other hand, like my wife said, she said, the one thing about Tom, he lived his life as a Christian every day, and he did.
Yeah.
So what an example.
Have you ever felt the Holy Spirit calling you to do something big?
I don't know what that means. I think the spirit that we have for the most part calls us to do things. I know in regard to me, my career, my family, it's all big,
Mm-hmm.
It's all big in regard to what we had. So, the Spirit will lead you. It's just a matter of, do you really want to make those steps? You really want to make those decisions. You want to make sure you're paying attention. You're paying attention to what's going on. That can be in the form of prayer, what you read in the Bible, what resources you have around you. Those are the kind of things I think that are really, real important to you.
Are you really actively listening, right?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, I'm convinced as I get older, I was not a good listener. I'm convinced I need to be a better listener. And that's tough to do. You really do need to be a good listener, and at all levels. Whether it's those grandkids, or I have the good fortune that I'm able to coach, some of these young kids, so I'm still around them, and it's real interesting if you can listen to them in regard to, what they're telling you, and they're so honest in regard to what they're telling you.